And we are now live on Twitch. Hopefully we don't have to do much, but just kind of refresh the page.
There you go, Kathy. Take a look at that.
Right on.
It looks a lot better after it dries.
Okay, yeah.
Because it looked like just like a solid, like it looked less sort of like heavy snow when you put it on, and then when it dries out, it actually gets really good texture. It looks like.
Yeah, it looks definitely granular, sandy.
Yeah, so thumbs up. That's going to be tonight's hobby streak. Since thanks to movie day, I did not get that done because I apparently slept till 10.
You slept till 10 o'clock?
I must have been tired because.
I guess you needed it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I woke up around 6 something. I'm like, because I don't have an alarm clock anymore. I just have a Echo Dot, and I'm like, yeah, what time is it? And it's like, the time is 6:23. I'm like, fuck, I'm going back to sleep. And then I look over. I'm like, oh, what time is it? It's like the time is 10:14. I'm like, fuck, I gotta get up.
Hey, Congo, how's it going, man? I saw you just putting something in the text. We're kind of working on some things. So
I'm just looking at golden acrylics, various mediums, since John was turning me on to the sandy, what do you call it?
Of course, pumice gel.
Yeah.
Pumice gel?
So it's actually reasonably hard to find at hobby stores. I found this is the only one at the 2 hobby stores I went to. Most of their websites don't have it on there, so you might have to get it on Amazon.
So, my husband uses the golden heavy gel. It's like heavy body gel for water effects because, like for icicles and stuff like that, because you can kind of pull it with the brush and it keeps its shape, and for like splashes and waves and stuff too.
I should get my boy the Jason on here because he uses a bunch of stuff for stuff like that. He likes it away to Japan or something for the stuff he uses.
Is it the Scalorama stuff? Scalorama resins?
I don't remember. I'd have to get him on here.
The Scalorama Korean.
No Legionnaires. It is pumice gel with a P.
Not hummus gel?
Not hummus gel. In fact, it's not even close.
Gel.
There's an M in both of them and one U. That's where the similarities end.
But you could eat them, both.
I would not suggest it. Let me take a look here.
And see how deadly it is.
Survey says
like
health and safety.
You don't want to eat sand, I guess, but...
To ensure safety, avoid ingestion, excessive skin toxin, and inhalation of spraying mist, sanding dust, and concentrated vapors. So I'm going to say a no to eating.
So just like the Tide Pod Challenge?
Oh my no, you know what that's called? That's called fucking Darwinism.
Yeah, that's culling the herd right there.
I mean, I don't want to see anyone die, but for fuck's sake, when do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, no.
Good lord.
I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, really? Now, I did think it was funny that people started making Tide Pod drinks and candy and stuff to do all this stuff. Yeah.
Did you see? There's a guy who vaped Tide Pod.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Darwinism.
Darwinism.
Yeah.
I need to get my stuff ready for the painting tonight because we're gonna do some painting, guys.
Because back in the day, we didn't have this kind of problem. I'm like, I mean, sure, yeah, we tasted Play-Doh and stuff, but
you still can't put Play-Doh in front of me.
Are you still gonna eat it?
Yes.
Ugh.
Yes, I would. You know what the thing is? When I was little, my mom made homemade Play-Doh out of flour, water, and salt and food coloring. So, it was harmless. We would eat that. In fact, I actually threw chocolate chips in it once and made cookies, which were really salty cookies. I mean, I was like 6, But, Play-Doh, yeah, I'll eat it.
According to science, you should never ever argue with anyone on Facebook. That's fair.
Like,
now,
ever.
I have a cool Play-Doh story. Now, y'all both know that I'm a teacher, and my degree is in early childhood. And we had this one class, and it was an art teacher type class. And so we had to, my midterm was not your typical midterm. And I had a friend of mine that I was going to school with, and he was doing like quantum physics and all this other crap, really high science stuff, really smart guy. And we were sitting down talking, and he's like, man, I got this midterm. You know, he's studying all these formulas and all this other stuff. And I looked at him and says, well, you want to guess what my midterm is for this one class? And he's like, well, what's your midterm for your art class? I go, I got to make homemade Play-Doh. And so my midterm was to make homemade Play-Doh. And we had to make it different. We could use any recipe we wanted, but we had to try to make it unique and to us. And so I just changed the food coloring and just, made it on the stove. And we had a girl that made Play-Doh from coffee grounds, which I'd never heard of before.
Huh.
But I mean, it was the stinkiest, most disgusting Play-Doh. It looked like, when you were playing with it, it looked like a turd. And it left black and brown marks all over your hand. I mean, it was horrible. It was like a turd.
Oh my god! Well, coffee. I mean that.
Yeah.
I mean that's gonna bleed.
Yeah,
color.
I've never heard of making.
And depending on how hard the turd is, it may not leave anything at all.
Oh, that's sad.
But yeah, it was like my midterm for one of my teaching classes was to make homemade Play-Doh, and I'm like, I could deal with that. I'm not going to argue that one at all. I'm shaking up my paints for what we're going to be using tonight. This is the base that we're going to be painting. If everybody can see it. It is a, 125 by 100 millimeters. A little cork lava base I made for my Abyssal Champions that I'm going to put on. So.
Did you say you're Abysmal Champions?
Abysmal. Yep, the Abysmal guys. So.
Like how you did in that tournament?
I actually went 1-2 in that tournament. I was kind of upset I didn't go 2-2. Or 1-3, because I wanted it to go 1-3 in the tournament. My first game was against Brent Simon, and if anybody knows, I've
heard that name.
Yeah, if anybody knows and plays War Machine, Brent Simon, he's a really good player. He's one of my local guys, but he's one of those win at any cost and get the most points and all that stuff. That's kind of his motto. And he's a really, really, really solid player. He makes the War Machine finals all the time. Knows his stuff. Can't argue. If I have a question and I need to know about something, how do I do this? He's the person I go to because he's the guy that does it. Played a game against him. I did pretty well, but it was just a hard fought, and Electro Leaps are a bitch.
That's what I hear.
And then that was my second round. My first round was against Carl Jones, which is also a really good player. He makes it to War Machine Weekend all the time and the Nationals. I almost had a chance. I just couldn't pull it off. He left Scar out in the middle of open with no focus, and I couldn't get Lord Longfellow up to her. If I could have got Longfellow up to her, she'd have been dead. And then my third round, I played against Colin from the Muso Mini Colin.
Okay.
And because Nigel and Colin showed up there, so it was really fun to see them. And I played against Colin, and he'd never played against Grimkin. And I played my child list, and he was like, that's just some stupid stuff, because he procced my feet on one turn. He procced my trump, and so I beat the crap out of stuff. And then the next turn, he procced sacrifice, and all my models healed up, and he was like, that bullshit. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. And then we didn't play a fourth round because the pair down lost. So I was like, damn it.
It always depends on it. When it's like 4 rounds, I'm like, let's do 4 rounds. About to be 5th, I'm like, you pair down, you fucking better lose.
I like 4 rounds. Hey Chris, how's it going? I like 4-round tournaments for like local stuff because it gives me enough time to play 4 games, and hopefully I play against people I don't play against normally. Problem is I play against Carl and Brent all the time. Anytime Carl and I go to a tournament, there's at least 1 or 2 tribe. I mean, usually it's either first or second round we're fighting each other, and same thing with Brent Simon. Usually I see him second if it's kind of a small local type event. But it was fun. So
Yeah, I wanted to get some games in on Saturday, but there was a X-Wing qualifier at the local gaming store, so their entire game room was closed. My boy Marshall opened up his hobby room, but we ended up chatting, and Bowie played Not Brushhead Dave in some Armada for Bowie's second game, because we're starting an Armada league soon, or campaign.
that's cool.
Yeah, so that'll be pretty cool. He needs to get some more games in. He did pretty well. He realizes he made some mistakes in how he maneuvered and all. He lost his big ship really early, but losing a good quarter of your forces really early in the game is bad.
Yeah.
But he actually managed to make it a really good game.
I can see Armada and X-Wing playing off some really good campaign story stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a Necromunda style type thing.
I haven't seen one for X-Wing, but X-Wing has become sort of like the serious business of those games, which is why I only play it with my buddy Marshall or casually with buddies, because I don't want to take any game that seriously.
Hey, comes in Xander. Thanks for joining us today.
But yeah, so that's what I got done, and then of course today was movie day. But we'll hear about that in the movie media section later.
You know what? I didn't get to watch many movies this week. I'm upset with myself.
I only watched 2. I could have watched more, but since I knew those 2 were coming, I spent time on other stuff, hobby stuff. I drove around to multiple hobby stores, had dinner with Not Brushhead Dave on one night. Man, it was a pretty good week overall.
Yeah, I didn't. I only watched one movie, and I watched it today because I knew it was like, oh crap, I better watch a movie before we go. And then watched a couple of series. Nothing big, nothing major. I was busy doing other things.
A lot of YouTube clips. I found there's a category of movie I like to call clip movies. Ones where you're like, I don't ever really want to watch that movie again, but there's some scenes I'd like to see again.
I did that today. As we know, we were talking about last week. I can't remember who tried to give me the information to fix my receiver to get it to play the sound and everything correctly. Actually, I had to buy a new receiver because my old receiver didn't have the technology to work the way I needed it to.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
They had the DHCP 2.2 or whatever.
Right.
And so I had to get a new receiver, and so I hooked all that up, and I'm now running 7.1 and HDR plus, so 4K HDR, which was really cool. So I'd pop in scenes from movies on my DVD player or my Blu-ray player, like, oh, let's watch this part from Rogue One. Let's watch this part from Star Wars. Let's watch this. Let's watch that.
When I first got my Blu-ray player, and they're like, oh, it actually makes DVDs look better, too, on your TVs. I had popped in Star Wars Episode 3, because I was like, oh, it's pretty new. It's filmed with the good technology.
Uh-huh.
And I was watching, and like, that space battle looks awesome. Up to the point where they fire missiles that drop droids onto your ship that start taking apart. I'm like, oh, that's why we don't like this movie. I remember now. But no, I mean, it's good. I mean, it looks great.
Yeah. I did a lot of sound checking and everything. I played a bunch of Assassin's Creed Origin and completed the story on that game.
I've been putzing around a bit in Borderlands 2 still because it's me, but I'm sort of taking my time now, actually farming for some equipment occasionally.
No.
I've only been playing Diablo 3 as far as that goes.
Only. How's Adepticon stuff going, Kathy?
I don't know. I missed last week's meeting because of weird car trouble, and I didn't get to sleep until 4 a.m., which apparently is normal for you, but yeah. I don't operate on, 4 hours of sleep very well. So,
I missed one of my meetings, too.
I can do 4 hours of sleep, like once. The next night I better get a full night, because the more nights in a row it gets, the worse I get.
Yeah. Yeah, I get cranky.
I remember back in the day when 4 hours of sleep, you're like, psh, let's do it. Let's game all night. Come on.
Wait, sleep? Sleep is for the weak.
Oh, man. Yeah,
back when... I was running, managing local game store, and I spent all night at our other location with my buddies playing games and all. We like walked to McDonald's, got breakfast. One guy's like, "Oh crap, I got to go to school." So I leave Phil there to. He's going to sleep on the couch in the back of the office. Then he has to get up and run it for most of the day. I get back to mine, and I'm like, "Man, this is bullshit. I'm so tired. Fuck it." I actually call it one of the guys who's off. Like, come in and work day. He's like, "Oh, it'd be great." I just went home and slept.
I had a night where I went over to my friends. They were having a party. We ended up putting together the Puzz 3D, the 3D puzzle of New Schweinstein Castle.
Mm-hmm.
And all night. Like, all night. And at 7 o'clock in the morning, I was like, I have to go home and get my books because I have class. And that was, that was like a regular thing back in the day, but I can't do that anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean there would be time because I was in the military. We worked 4 days on and 7 days off because we were out in the field and we had to stay out there for 4 days. And when we got back those 7 days, we were like, all right, time to get a role playing game on. All right, who's running? And we just went nonstop and for like 3 days straight. All right, let's go take a quick nap. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I remember those. I still do that some, not a lot though.
We used to have 48 hours of role-playing games at my friend's house. It was like an entire weekend, and different people would run different games, and you could like sign up for a game. There'd be like 3 different people running a game in this house, in different rooms simultaneously, and people would choose which ones they were going to play, and then we would just, for 2 days straight, just play role-playing games.
Yep, I remember that.
We did role-playing weekends, and it would just be one game. All weekends.
Well, I mean, there were plenty of those, too, but this was like a special once-a-year thing, and it was just an extravaganza.
Well, we would get together, and it was like 6 or 7 of us, depending on how it was. And one thing we had is, if we all couldn't decide on what we wanted to play, we would play a game of, like, everybody would pick a mech and play like BattleTech real quick, and the winner of the Royal Rumble got to choose what RPG we were going to play for the week.
See, I just believe because you just said play BattleTech really quick.
Well, you just took straight mechs and basic pilot, so it wasn't like RPG, and we played on the board game. It was like the original edition or whatever.
Oh, I played a lot of that back in the day, but very rarely was it really quick.
Oh,
It's like a big game of Third Reich. What are you talking about?
I mean, some of our games. There was, I think, at least one weekend where we started playing BattleTech the same time as the guys started playing Axis and Allies, and guess who was done first? Hint, it was the Axis and Allies guys.
Yeah.
Like, you guys aren't done. I'm like, that guy's still alive. We're getting him. But I think that was back before we had playing Axis and Allies down to a science. The answer is, all right, John, you're going to play Russians. I'm like, okay, great. I'm building infantry. Oh, we're out of infantry? All right, tanks. Germany failed to take me? Right, now we send the tanks in. Time to die. All right, we're good here. As a problem with that game, it's pretty. I mean, it was fun the first several times, and once you figure it out, you're like, I can't play Russia anymore. I actually refuse. Because they're always like, Russia's easy, John. I'm like, you just sit there and hold, and we'll come save you. And then I figured it out, and I didn't need saving. Like, yep, Germany fucked up, and time to die. Or, as I like to call it, World War II.
Who would have thought?
It's funny, if you play it just like World War II went, you do great. Dudes, tanks, go forward.
well, now everybody's playing. I see so many people playing Twilight Imperium, the new edition. I haven't gotten the new edition yet. Don't know if I will, but a lot of that's going up on Facebook. Just people playing that like crazy, which would be really cool.
Yeah, my cousin John got it. He's going to let me know next time he plays it, so he can try and invite me.
Yeah, cause
I haven't seen anybody playing the new version. I've
Really?
seen a few people playing the old version, but I mean that's years ago. But yeah, nothing. I haven't heard anything about. I haven't heard any buzz about the new Twilight Imperium. So none of my friends are doing it. Not that that's a bad thing. I mean, not that it's a bad game or anything. I like the old one just fine.
Well, they I know that there's been a lot of talk about that, and I've seen it, but we have a lot of, I guess say, what is it? A lot of War Machine and Hordes players, and a lot of them have been playing that on, instead of the game, and so I've been seeing that pop up. I know was it Jay Larson was really into it, and then I saw some old PP guys playing it, and some of their local guys that they have. So I mean, there's a decent amount. I heard it's a whole lot better. I know a lot of our local guys were playing, whatchamacallit, Twilight Imperium, the new edition, to test it out at the store. They'd get there really early and just take a table.
I'd ask the Crippled System guys their opinion on it. I heard it was fun, but I think I would ask them their opinion on it before I bought a copy or something. Because those are my go-to board game guys. Those guys, I mean, Nathan's 1 for 1 on introducing me to great board games at cons.
Yeah. Xander, I'm working on what we're going to do the lava stuff on. I'm just trying to get a little bit of dry brushing done on the rocks. You can get a little bit. Lighting isn't that great right now because it's going to be a pain in the butt for me to switch around when we're doing painting. So I'm just setting up my camera and just got to. Kathy's going to be jealous. I found a tripod for my camera, Kathy.
All right.
You're gonna have to take pictures and send them to me.
Oh, I'll do that right now. I'll show you all this awesome stuff I got. I found a tripod sitting in my closet. And so, hey, look, here's my camera. And I was like, hey, I could use that really quick. And so I put that and got it there. So let's see. Here you go. Kata. There you go. You got it.
Right on.
So I'm trying to get a little bit of dry brush done on this before we put the lava in here. This is for my Kings of War Abyssal Champions. And I wanted to do a lava base with all of them. Sort of like when I did my Efreet model. Like the little cork lava bases. I don't know how well you can see this. Probably can't very well because of the way the light is. But the pictures are up on Facebook. And so I'm just trying to get some stuff done. And of course, me being clumsy and a little too rough with my paint, I just took off some of the cork.
Oh.
So now you're just gonna have to take and put a little more of the primer in that area.
Yeah.
Because that happens. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, I got a little too quick and fancy with it. So I'm just trying to get a little bit of that dry brush in. Did a first dry brush of Underbelly Blue for the top. And now I'm going to do a little bit more of that and get it on the sides real quick with a smaller dry brush. One of the ones that I don't care if I destroy or not because it's a GW brush. I mean, it's just a brush.
No, that's fair. Actually, I like to use Army Painter brushes for destroy brushes because they're so inexpensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a tournament I went to, and they give away store credit, which I'm like, cool, I don't mind that. And so I won some store credit, and I was like, what do I want? I don't need any models, so I'm like, what am I gonna spend it on? And I was like, ooh, I can get some brushes that I don't care about, and so I got a bunch of GW brushes that I can destroy with dry brushing.
Hey, Cons, I have an odd question for you.
Go ahead.
Do you know if Prepped Risk made a set of new paints? Like when Grimkin came out or something?
Yeah, there was a group of paints that they got, like piggy purple, and there was like this flesh tone. There was a set of paints that they had when the Grimkin came out.
Because my local store isn't carrying them separately, and my buddy showed them to me, and I'm like, they're all colors I think I'd like to use.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure if they're. I'm not. They did. I don't. I think they sold them as a set at one point.
That's what I think they did, because
I know they sold them individually, but I don't know when they did that, because they were selling them at War Machine Weekend, because Seth wanted me to get one of all of each one of them. But yeah, those colors are really awesome looking colors too.
Yep, there it is. It's out of stock, of course.
Yeah, they were pretty popular.
Yeah. What we got here? I'm on their
Yeah,
on
the colors are really good.
Store to take a look at them.
You could probably try.
It's Gravedigger Denim, Deathless Metal, which he wasn't a fan of.
Oh,
Sickly
Deathless Metal's
Skin,
awesome.
Bogren Brown, Big Moss, and Meaty Ochre. The rest of them,
Mediocre.
yeah,
Yep.
apparently was a good color though.
Yeah. All the colors were really, really good.
He wasn't a fan of the metallic one, but I mean, we all know PreRamble is not the master of metallic paints. Their new batches are a lot better than their old stuff used to be, but quite on, he's much more a painter than I am.
Yeah.
He'd be more in Kathy's in Kathy's class. He says there's a lot of other metals that he thinks is a lot better for it than that. But you know, he has it. It's not bad.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like Deathless Metal. It had a good coverage and had a really good tinge and look to it.
Oh yeah.
What kind of a tint is it? Is it like a silver? Is it like a bronze?
I think it's a dark. It's like a dark, blackish metal.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But it's
so
kind of a sickly,
like a carbon steel patina.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. It I know a lot of people liked it because it was kind of a corrupted and evil looking type metal.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are using it for their Death Guard.
Yeah.
That's not the site I wanted.
Get off the porn sites, John.
That's never the site you want.
Damn autofill.
I don't know how you can get porn off of Deathless Metal.
Wasn't typing Deathless Metal.
Oh, okay. So you could get anything then.
Just trying to see.
What time is it? Oh, we're almost time.
Getting there.
Yep. Trying to keep an eye on time tonight, guys. Make sure we're doing everything.
Does he?
And broke another piece of cardboard off.
I don't think he sells paints. Hobby supplies. Never mind.
Yeah, it's just I'm trying to get on the edges and like little flecks are coming off, not the full pieces, just flecks of cardboard.
Yeah.
So I'll just repaint
it. Happen.
Thanks, Legionnaires, for the time. We're trying to stay on time a bit and get everything going since we're going to be painting on the show tonight.
We're always on time.
Does not have it. Son of a son.
Son of a son.
Of a sailor.
Of a giant chicken?
Nothing to do with a giant chicken.
No giant chickens yet?
No.
No giant chicken?
Bog. But, like I said, tonight we're going to try something where I'm going to be painting on air.
That's difficult. How do you get to stick to air?
Easy.
It's molecule by molecule, John.
Get with the program. Quantum physics.
You know, once you've got that scanning electron microscope in front of you, you just like get that brush down there and
go with it.
I'm not touching that. Not touching it.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and do a quick shutdown, then bring it back up again to refresh. Make sure you refresh it, and we will come back. Time to go get our alcohol.
Refresh ourselves.
Yep, everybody go get your alcohol. I'm already ready. So we'll be back in like 2 and 2.
That's 4.
No.